Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I just wanted to give a quick introduction before we kick things off. I'm Maybelline Middleton, the Microsoft Vendor Alliance Manager here at Beckler, and a big part of my role is working side by side with both Microsoft and West Coast, just ensuring that our customers are getting the most out of their investment. And I hope that today's workshop will provide some valuable insight, whether you are new to or familiar with Microsoft 365. I'm sure by now some of you may have heard the term do more with less. Microsoft 365 is a suite of cost-efficient, highly integrated and easy productivity technologies designed specifically for small to medium businesses. As we all know, IT can be complex, but it's just about simplifying that IT environment and of course bringing the right solution seamlessly through one portal. As a CSP customer of ours, you'll be familiar with West Coast, who we're joined by today for a workshop based on real world scenarios. So you get to experience how you can collaborate and work efficiently from virtually anywhere, whilst of course improving your security and maximising your technology investment. We'll then be handing over to Stephen to run through our managed tenant service offering. And just quickly, if you have any questions as we go through today, feel free to pop them in the Q&A and we'll be sure to just answer those at the end for you. I will now hand over to West Coast.
Fantastic, thank you, Maybelline. Good morning, everybody. My name is Candy. I am the security specialist, or the Microsoft security specialist here at West Coast Cloud. I'm joined by my colleague, Louis.
Hi, I'm Louis. I'm one of Workplace Business Development Manager here at West Coast Cloud as well. So getting into it, we know that SMBs are the backbone of our economy. They're what keep us running, and they're the reason so many communities thrive. When the pandemic hit, businesses all over the world had to scramble and adapt. Many small and medium-sized businesses struggled with these changes and didn't know if they'd be able to make it through. Maybe some of you in this workshop experienced these struggles. Now, 3 years on, we need to rethink work. It's no longer a place you go. It's a set of activities that people need to be able to perform from anywhere, no matter the type of small or medium business you run. Companies around the world are embracing hybrid work. And that shift has been particularly rapid for SMBs who completely transform the way they work and introduce a new set of solutions into the day-to-day work lives. Like restaurants that switch from in-person dining to online ordering, doctors who switch from in-person to virtual appointments, or companies that switch from in-person document exchanges to cloud hosting and remote signing. As we continue to adapt to the new normal, one thing is clear. Life as we knew it before the pandemic will not return. Research shows that employees want the best of both worlds. Over 70% of workers want flexible remote working options to continue, and 66% of business decision owners are planning to redesign spaces to accommodate hybrid work options. This new normal has demonstrated that in order to thrive, businesses need to invest in developing capabilities in 3 key areas: real-time collaboration, security, and they need to support hybrid work and managing devices outside of their walls. Old legacy and on-premise solutions don't solve these challenges. Point-to-point solutions don't solve these challenges. A comprehensive, integrated solution will help businesses and partners collaborate, be secure, manage devices, and save costs. And business owners around the world recognise they need to get on a modern technology stack with the benefits of cloud-based collaboration, productivity, and security. The need for this has never been greater. All of these data points show small business owners understand the benefit of using modern cloud services. They just often don't know where to start. Increasingly, they recognise that their businesses are vulnerable to phishing, ransomware, and other security threats, but again, aren't too sure what to do about it, and often have to sort through lots of noise from many different vendors. And they need to conserve cash in order to weather uncertain times. But together, and with the right tools in hand, we can help grow your business. Microsoft 365 is designed to equip business owners to respond to these 3 challenges. In this presentation, we'll show you how the Microsoft Do More with Less strategy lets you be more collaborative and connect your people, secures business and technology you can trust, and find easier, more secure ways to manage apps and devices. As we all know, Microsoft 365 is a productivity cloud across work and life. It's designed to help you achieve more with apps, intelligent cloud services, and world-class security. And it's a powerful tool for SMBs, whether you're a business of hundreds or a business of one. We'll now go through a demo environment where you may notice Northwind mentioned. This is a fictitious company for the purposes of the webinar.
Fantastic. So taking now then a look at Office, Outlook and security. So, whether you're working from home or in the office, I think the first thing we all do is turn on our PC and our laptops. We log into our Office portal if we're already familiar with that, where we can access the tools that we need for the day. Now, usually this would mean remembering a password, which, if you're anything like me, can be a challenge in itself. But with Microsoft, we can actually now start to leverage Windows Hello for Business. And this is simply by using the front camera on the device, and it uses facial recognition as your password, which then, of course, would grant you access without even having to type anything, much like your phone. Passwords are actually the #1 security threat, according to a data breach report, with over 80% of hacking-related breaches used either stolen or weak passwords. And there is an industry movement now called Passwordless that Microsoft and other leading tech organizations are championing to do away with passwords in favor of more secure methods like Windows Hello and using multi-factor authentication, or MFA. Now, we know that SMBs are interested in increasing efficiency, boosting productivity and reducing costs. But security is extremely important, and within all Microsoft 365 solutions and Office applications, security isn't a bolt-on thing. It really should be included in everything we do to secure our data while being protected from phishing attempts, ransomware, and of course, those other types of cyber attacks. So if we go to Office 365, once logged in, we can easily start our day by launching our My Apps portal through office.com. As we can see, we're already signed into all of our Office applications and can quickly jump into documents we've recently worked on or that have been shared with us. We call this single sign-on, and it is built into Microsoft 365 security system. And we can also access all company-approved third-party applications from this same location. And because of single sign-on, we don't have to worry about remembering those multiple passwords. We can use the same Windows passwords to access any of the applications that we need. And finally, with the majority of us working remotely, the Microsoft Authenticator app provides further protection in MFA. Our phones provide an extra layer of security on top of our PIN or fingerprint, and we can use Authenticator to sign into Outlook, OneDrive, Office, and more. And we're also able to protect all of our accounts with two-step verification. Now, I've been sent an update for an upcoming press release that will be published soon. Now, if I select this press release and open it in Microsoft Word from my email, security tools like Microsoft Defender for Office 365 automatically scan the document as it's opening to make sure it doesn't contain malware or anything suspicious. Now, you may have just missed that because the scan happens so quickly, but it's really important to know that Microsoft doesn't just assume an email document is secure. There are certain safeguards in place. Now, it looks like this file is okay, and depending on how it's been saved or protected by the document owner, I can either start adding edits, or it will open in a protected view, which prompts me to take an action to enable editing. But we'll be talking a bit more about that document protection later. Now, I can save this file to my OneDrive for safekeeping and easy universal access. In fact, for convenience, documents automatically save to your unique OneDrive folder. So let's say I need to collaborate on this press release with our product team. Now, the best way to collaborate on a document is to have it in one place where everyone can work on it without having to share or worry about version control. But we'll be showcasing Teams later on. So for now, I'm going to copy and paste this to a Teams location from within OneDrive. Now, before we leave OneDrive, it's worth mentioning that OneDrive is a leader in collaboration and cloud document solutions. It lets our employees share files on any device, anywhere, and it secures work from data loss, viruses, and other types of cyber attacks. OneDrive actually stores multiple versions of the file, which also then helps recover from mistakes and provides that additional protection from malware. So if a file is lost or damaged, the user can simply bring up a prior version of the file or even the folder it was in if it was deleted. Now, one example of OneDrive security abilities is how it can scan documents from private information and then automatically classify any of those documents as confidential. And SMB owners can then set policies that best suit their needs. Microsoft received the PCI Security Standard DataSec Standard certification for OneDrive and certifies that it can help to securely store credit card data, which is of course great for a lot of SMBs and your customers. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Defender for Office 365, Microsoft Defender for Business, and Microsoft Defender Antivirus. So, of course, a big part of this workshop really, and you know, we've already talked a lot about how important security is for Microsoft and how it really is embedded through our daily experiences and tools. We've seen passwordless logins with Windows Hello, multi-factor authentication, and storing files securely in OneDrive and scanning our documents in the background. But Microsoft security solutions cover a lot more than that. And one area that's super important for us to pay attention to is ransomware and phishing. Now, ransomware attacks, I'm not sure if you're aware, but they've actually grown over 300% in the last year alone. And over half of those attacks are aimed at small and medium-sized businesses, just like here at Northwind Bicycles. Now, this has serious repercussions. With over 61% of those small and medium-sized businesses that were attacked, they couldn't operate until the situation was remediated. And the average cost of these breaches is in the region of £100,000 to £110,000. So let's take a look at what a breach looks like in an environment like ours here at Northwind. And we can talk about the Microsoft solutions that can make the difference between business as usual and not doing business at all. Solutions like Microsoft Defender for Office 365, Defender for Business, and Defender for Antivirus. Let's head back into our Outlook browser view. And here we can see an email from our payroll department about updating our benefits. This all looks good, right? Well, not really. This is actually a classing phishing attempt. And these have increased dramatically during our period of remote work. Attacks to get our employees or our organisation's information are on the rise. Now let's look at how Microsoft would help to deal with these kind of attacks and phishing attempts. Now, Microsoft have been analysing threats during and after the pandemic, and one of the biggest threats now is pandemic-related email phishing attempts. Now, that could be a phishing attempt related to unemployment benefits or a fake request that appears to be coming from our Northwind's HR department. But now more than ever, awareness and education are so important to help everyone recognise potential and phishing attempts. But as we'll see, in some cases, awareness and education just simply aren't enough. Now, what we just saw was a fairly common breach attempt, and those can often be stopped. But the reality is that there are more sophisticated adversaries out there than ever before. And if they really want to get into our environment, well, with enough creativity and determination, they can. So what happens then? Well, that's where Defender for Business would come in. Now, as a hypothetical, imagine that we decided to have a private meeting in our local office. We'd probably lock the door and just go about our business, not really thinking about the door or the lock. Now, this would actually deter most people from entering the room. But what if someone with bad intention was able to get through the lock and break in? We'd probably want a security guard on site who could protect us from the intruder, and maybe a security camera system to get eyes on the situation and the intruder. We might want to look at an alarm system that could scare the intruder away, alert the authorities, and then, of course, get us help as fast as possible. We do this every day when we leave our business, but many of us don't just lock the office door. We also arm a security system that includes motion sensors, cameras, and alarms because we know it's what's best for our business. So let's go back into Outlook and see what happens when the attacker is able to get beyond the standard antivirus tools, which is seen as the basic lock on the company's door. As is often the case, here we can see an attachment on the forwarded message from Alex about a bike accessories inventory from a third party. The attachment is a Word document and it's encrypted by the attacker. Now, standard AV measures aren't really designed to scan encrypted files, and they can't normally open an attachment like this without a decryption password. So what is the strategy here? I mean, how do the attackers actually think that they're going to get one of us to open the attachment and enter the decryption password? Well, they can be really creative, and that's what we're seeing more and more of. And there are so many ways to go about this. One way is to call one of us, because they know the email is sitting in our Outlook inbox, and they can pose as someone in authority at Northwind, like our CEO, or someone in a department we might not be familiar with, or even an associate at our company's bank. And naturally, we want to open the attachment because we've been asked to by someone we believe we can trust. So let's just say the password is clearly indicated. It's WDA TP DIY hashtag. Like always, we'll need to enable the content as part of the security measures we have in place at Northwind Bicycles. And everything seems normal to us as end users. Nothing malicious seems to be happening. But as I entered that password, I allowed an attacker to install a backdoor on my machine that can now network to all other machines. Now, in a position of strength, the attacker can ransom Northwind's data and intellectual property, which can freeze our assets until we pay a sizable amount of money to an untraceable offshore account. All the attacker had to do was get through the lock on the door. But with Defender for Business, the attacker has a lot more to contend with. And while we as end users might be oblivious as to what's happening, our IT department aren't. Now we have the security camera, the motion sensors, and the alarm, and even a security guard. So let's take a look behind the scenes to see Microsoft for Business in action. Now, as soon as that attack started, Defender for Business was triggered, and it let our IT admin know that something malicious was happening. Then it tracked everything that happened on the system. Here on the dashboard, we can see the incident details the IT admin already has access to, as well as recommended safeguards and other measures to isolate and protect the machine and user. Now, as soon as that attack started, Defender for Business created an incident report and launched an automated investigation. The IT admin can then investigate the incident further to identify where the attack originated, when, and any malicious behaviour that may have happened. Now here, the IT admin can see Megan's machine was attacked and the attack lasted only minutes. But the IT admin has a graphical view of the incident, which attacked the Megan B PC, creating two different processes. So now the IT admin can go deeper into the alert for a more granular or detailed look. The alert story helps through the incident moment by moment. Now in this right blade, the IT admin can manage the alert, add a classification, and if similar incidents have happened in the past, they can link the alerts to each other. Here we can see a detailed alert description detailing what happened and what could happen in the future. And also detailed recommended actions will assist in preventing future attacks. Now finally, if the same incident is happening throughout the company, the IT admin can see how many devices, users, mailboxes and applications are impacted. Now so far only one impacted device and user has been affected. By isolating that device and escalating the incident, the IT admin can protect future assets from disruption. So as you can see, Defender for Business automatically investigates alerts and helps remediate those complex threats, which pretty much acts as our own personal security analyst, working 24/7 to protect our business. And this means that protection kicks in and remediates the threat, even if the admin is on holiday or isn't present to see it. Now, in the event of a serious breach where sophisticated modern attacks can sometimes bypass standard prevention and protection layers, Defender for Business shuts it down quickly. Defender for Business is also designed for simplicity, so any of us can use it. We don't need specialised expertise because it's easily deployed and employees do not need to worry as it runs in the background. It's just like that security system in our home or business that we were talking about earlier. And the best security is the kind that we don't see or notice as we go about our daily lives until something goes wrong. And essentially, Defender for Business brings the power of enterprise-grade endpoint security to those businesses up to 300 seats in a really simple and cost-effective solution. And it's now become the gold standard for next-gen antivirus. Next, we're going to be taking a look at teams and collaboration. So we've launched into our day securely. We've got all the tools we need to be productive, but what about collaborating? Now, since we're all working remotely most of the time, maybe we don't want to show people our home office or wherever we choose to work, or maybe we just want to spruce things up a little bit during the monotony of working from home every day. Teams gives us many options for changing backgrounds. And if you want other participants to see you and not get distracted by what's going on in your environment, then you simply select the blur background option. Now, I don't know about you, but working remotely for such an extended period of time can actually make it quite hard to feel like we're together. But one tool that Microsoft built in particular into this is Teams to address this is Together Mode. Now, Together Mode is great because it takes all of our camera feeds and it puts us into a certain environment together. Now, another handy tool is live captioning. It's a great feature to keep up with what's being said in real time, and it's an effective accessibility tool for individuals who are living with a hearing impairment. So while in meetings, we have the option of both speech and text through chat. For example, when I have a side comment during a meeting or I want to send a link or file, I'll post that in the chat window so I don't interrupt whoever is speaking. And then there's app mentioning, and this works almost everywhere in Microsoft 365 in your connected organization. You can app mention co-workers in a meeting, in the standard Teams app, and even in Word and PowerPoint documents when you're commenting. So if you really want to get someone's attention, you can app mention them and use the exclamation mark icon to mark your message as important or urgent. I think we can all agree really that Teams meetings are a great way to engage and communicate in real time. But a Teams meeting is just one component of the overall Microsoft Teams experience. Now, Microsoft Teams as a whole is a collaboration platform complete with document sharing, communications, workstream organization, and many more useful features for SMBs. And having an excellent team space is key to being able to make creative decisions and keep everyone up to date on all of your projects and initiatives. So really start to think of Teams as the hub for Teams collaboration in Microsoft 365 that integrates the people, content, and tools our teams need to be more engaged. For now, imagine that you've also already been invited into a team and accepted the invitation. Now, you would have received a notification in Outlook, which lets you know that you've been added to a specific team. You can also add people to your team without them needing a Teams account or Teams client. Once in Teams, you can see that in my Teams view, I'm a member of a few existing teams that have been created. We'll be focusing on the NWB2000 e-bike team that is already set up. Now, you'll also note channels under the teams like press and media. That's where I copied the press release document earlier from OneDrive. Now, channels help to keep the lines of communication clear within a given team or objective. Think of them as related sub-conversations or even workspaces. Now, other members of the team can still have visibility throughout the greater team, but channels surface information for the right people, and it saves us all time and it cuts out the noise. And as members, you can create a channel in the greater team anytime you like. Now, for any given team, the default channel is general and acts as the main area for the all up team. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create a channel for us in the e-bike called Showroom Layouts. Now, one last thing about channels, Microsoft has recognized the importance of not just private teams, but private channels within any given team. Now, for instance, I might want to create a private channel that only select people within the team can see. I would just set those permissions as I'm creating the channel. Now, I have some example sales data for a new product, but monthly sales reports are meant to be confidential. So we might create a private channel named monthly sales reports, and we can grant access to just the employees that need to see that data. Now, I actually have the first sales report as an Excel file, and it was sent by the company director yesterday. So I'm going to open this Excel file now, which is a highly confidential document. So let's go ahead and store it here securely in this private channel by uploading it here. Now, not only should it be securely stored, of course, no policies have yet been assigned to it, so virtually anyone can still open it. But we can fix that with Microsoft's compliance capabilities. So we can be confident that the right folks are seeing it. And on the home ribbon, we can see that there is sensitivity drop down with multiple choices of the level we want to set. So we can label this one as highly confidential. This way, only the inner team can view it, and we can change the permissions at any time. So there is that flexibility in creating labels and setting policies on documents. Now you'll see in real time that this document now contains confidentiality verbiage, so we're all aware of its status. Now working on this document reminds me that I need to set up a future meeting with the sales team to go over those figures. Now, something I find really useful when it comes to meetings in Teams is the Meet Now option. Now, Meet Now lets anyone in a specific team kick off a meeting instantly with all of the members of that team. Maybe something urgent has come up that you need to discuss in the moment, or maybe you just want to tap into the group's creativity. Meet Now is a great option for those kind of impromptu collaborations. It's also really easy to create Teams meetings through the Calendar tab by selecting the invitees, the date, the time, and the subject, and any other key information. When setting up a meeting in Teams, I can just invite the entire channel without having to type any individual names. Now, we all know that a lot of people still do prefer, of course, to manage calendars and meetings from Outlook. Now, in Outlook, you would just set up a standard meeting. You can invite the people you want to include, and you can click on the Teams meeting option, which would instantly add a Teams link to the Outlook invite. Now, when it's time for the meeting and participants, they would click on the link and then they would go right into the Teams meeting. So let's take a look at document co-editing and Word. Now, if you recall earlier, the Northwind e-bike press release, this is the one I copied from OneDrive to the press and media channel in Teams. Now, like we did before with Outlook, we can choose whether to open an Office document, which is Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, within Teams, within the actual app, or in the browser. Now, once open, we can now look at the top right corner of the Word document and see who is currently in it. And we can each make comments or edits in real time together. Now, say you've had a question or you want to simply clarify something, you can just add a new comment using the @ symbol mention to get a specific co-worker's attention, just like you can in chat. Now, I might want to, say, get figures on the latest Northwind's customer satisfaction survey, and I can include some of that information in the press release. So let's just say that one of you is the customer services director. I would simply @mention you to request that information, and then you would get a notification that I'm trying to reach you. So on this document, when we're all done, no need to manually save. As you can see, the auto-save option is on, so the latest press release file with all of our collaboration will automatically be saved on the server in an associated SharePoint folder. So let's loop in and start looking at security and data loss prevention. Now, of course, Microsoft Outlook has that security built-in DLP, or data loss prevention, and it is a great example of this. And if our employees, if our organisation takes advantage of DLP, we can simply define policies that prevent our Northwind employees from sharing sensitive information via email. But what if one of us were to attempt to share sensitive information via email intentionally? If we have a DLP policy defined to prevent this, then messages with sensitive information that are sent to external users would be rejected. And this happens automatically and within seconds, according to how our DLP policy is configured. Documents are secure as well. So suppose that someone attempts to share a document with external users in Outlook, and the document contains sensitive information. If we have a DLP policy defined to prevent this, then the document won't open for those users if our DLP policy includes SharePoint and OneDrive. So let's put this to the test now in Outlook. Now, as a small company, most of us wears a lot of different hats. I often work with customer services to resolve issues when they arise. And in this role, I received an email recently from our customer services director, to say that there'd been a problem issuing a refund to a Northwind customer. Now, we need to act really fast to reverse this charge on a customer's credit card. And to expedite this, I've had to ask for the customer's credit card number. Now, let's just say that this number is 5105 1051 0510 5100 with the expiry date of 3/25. Now, if I go ahead and try to send this number via email, we should note an error message appear, or an unauthorized user is trying to receive information, sensitive information, or simply that the email is blocked. There should be some form of error that will come up from that email. Now, if customer services or any of you attempted to send the information, it would be blocked based on your policies that you have in place. Now, also, policy tips can appear when an action triggers a DLP policy, and this can extend to a wide array of confidential information, including national insurance numbers and NHS or hospital numbers. But once the sender gets the block notification, they can then, of course, notify an admin to review and resolve if needed. So let's take a look at mobile application and device management. Now, as the senior product manager here at Northwind, I'm often quite mobile. Now, occasionally I go into the office or I visit our main Northwind showroom. Now, many of our employees are on the move also, so it's important that we have access to our work tools on our mobile devices. So imagine that I'm on my way to the showroom to test ride one of the new NWB 2000 e-bike models. SMBs can choose to either furnish corporate devices to their employees or, and what's becoming more commonplace, for employees to use their own devices, or BYOD. Microsoft is flexible and can provide both through mobile device management and mobile application management. And studies show that allowing employees to use their own devices can increase employee satisfaction by as much as 33%. But enabling that flexibility needs to be coupled with strong security. Now, we manage our mobile applications, devices, and related policies through Microsoft Intune, which is a 100% cloud-based mobile device management and mobile application management provider for applications and devices. It lets us control features and settings on Android OS, iPad OS, Mac OS, and Windows 10 and 11 devices. So let me give you an example in a BYOD scenario. So here we're looking at my iPhone device, and I would like to check my calendar through Outlook or Teams. Before opening a work-related app, the system asks me to verify that I'm actually me. So in this case, my mobile device has a facial recognition. But for those devices that don't have facial or fingerprint access, we can also provide a personal identification number or a PIN. So I touch my phone, and once verified, I have access to my applications. Now, in our circumstance, Northwind is managing specific mobile applications versus managing the whole device. That means that we're protecting the important business information living in Outlook and other Office applications on the mobile device. So if we fast forward to an hour or so, say that I've just realised I've left my iPhone in the car when I get in, and I realise that, of course, now my device is missing. Now, in most circumstances, this could be a cause for panic, not just because I've lost my device, but also because it has access to sensitive company information. But with Microsoft 365, an unauthorised user cannot access that device as a result of the biometric or PIN login. And with a managed application approach, our IT team can quickly remove the managed apps and associated data without affecting our personal information with the device wipe feature. Now, moving over to Microsoft Bookings and Virtual Showroom. This may resonate with some of you. So I think one of the things that helped keep many businesses afloat during COVID-19 was virtual showrooms. Now, people still wanted to buy things, of course, but it was really challenging to physically come to a showroom, test ride, or talk to a sales professional face-to-face. This isn't going away anytime soon, so customers still like the idea of getting a virtual tour of a bike or another product with a professional before committing to a purchase. But managing the appointments is, it's really become kind of cumbersome and time-consuming. So to accomplish this in a seamless and straightforward way, we can now use Microsoft Bookings. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Microsoft Bookings is an app that simplifies how we schedule and manage appointments. And it works as a tool for us internally and also for how we schedule services or meetings with our customers. And it gives meeting owners one platform to manage meetings and appointments on a large scale. Now, one of the nice things about Bookings is that it also works as an app in Teams. So for the person providing the appointments, like our showroom sales professionals, once the booking setup is done, they can manage it easily in Teams. Now, Teams members can work in the Bookings web app, where they can add appointments, set up services, such as an initial consult or a showroom visit. And in today's day and age of online meetings, you can even set up services for online meetings. Customers meet staff in Microsoft Teams as guests without needing to load the application. And Bookings will also send customers SMS reminders on their mobile devices. So let's take a look at how Bookings works for the customer. Now, from a customer perspective, they would just simply select their choice of date and time here. And as we can see, some of the times have already been blocked out because these ones have been taken by other customers. But customers can also click through the days of the week to figure out the best time and, of course, to choose, if they want to, a specific staff person that they might want to meet with. And once the customer inputs their name and email, then they're all set to go. Now, once this is sent off, the customer will immediately receive an email confirmation and a link specific to the appointment. When the customer is returned to the bookings confirmation page, they can make a new booking, change their appointment time, or even cancel. Now, the staff member will also receive an Outlook email confirmation with the bookings link. It's easy to see how bookings could be useful to internal staff, but also to businesses that rely on booking customer appointments. And it's a great option for any appointments that are repetitive, but not recurring. These are meetings that have very similar attributes in terms of duration, staff members, confirmation, and reminder emails. So as you've seen across today, in this workshop, in our Microsoft 365 experience at Northwind or as Northwind employees, Microsoft 365 really does help businesses to stay connected and secure. Tools like Teams and how it works seamlessly with familiar Office applications like Word, Excel and Outlook, and make that collaboration and productivity possible, whether our employees are working from an office or remotely. And built in is that world-class security solutions like data loss prevention, data protection, MFA or multi-factor authentication, and mobile device and application management to help keep our employees, customers, and data secure across geographies and devices. Now, all of this really does enable you and your people to do what you're good at, which is your business. And we also know that SMBs are thinking about becoming more efficient and spending fewer pounds. So with that integrated, consolidated solution like Microsoft 365, you can, of course, then look to do both. So West Coast Cloud are here to support our partners and customers. If you would like to discuss one-to-one sessions in more detail, or even find out about Microsoft assessments and workshops, or even Microsoft licensing options specifically designed for SMBs, such as Business Premium, then please do reach out to, of course, Becca, who can then arrange that with West Coast Cloud. Now, all of the areas we've covered today join together and encompass the Business Premium subscription. Microsoft 365 Business Premium has been created with the small and medium-sized businesses with up to 300 seats in mind, as it does really kind of provide that best-in-class productivity capabilities of business standard, and then the comprehensive security and management features to safeguard any business data and assets across devices. And the best part is that Microsoft Defender for Business is also included in Business Premium at no additional cost. So as I highlighted earlier in the session, this is basically the value of E5 security being added to Business Premium. With that addition, Business Premium can really does offer an unparalleled and comprehensive suite for SMB needs. It's great value in a simple, easy to use package versus going for those one-point solutions, which can, of course, cost so much more in time and money. So we want you really to be able to work smarter and not harder by doing more with less with Business Premium. That's a wrap on the workshops. I think we've come to the end of the workshop there. I don't know if we have any questions in, but whether you want me to pass those over to yourself there, Stephen.
Yeah, we've just got a couple of more slides, Lois. Thank you ever so much for that. Sam, if you're able to pull up our first slide, that'd be really helpful. Brilliant. So my name's Steve Harley. I am a technology evangelist with Beckler in the UK here. We just wanted to spend a few moments before we delve into questions and answer, just to make you aware of the managed tenant service that we are now able to offer. And this is building upon the capabilities of both our pre-sales team and also our post-sales team, which includes an extensive set of personnel in offering first, second, third line network operations centre response based in the UK in Northampton. So if I just take you through some of the components of that managed tenant service and what that can offer to help you leverage and deliver more within your Microsoft 365 implementation. So if I could get you to just trip onto the next slide, that would be fantastic. Thank you. So the core services that manage 365 tenant include license provision and management. So that's the ability to order your licenses via email, phone or portal and have those licenses assigned to users as required by Beckler, rather than yourself and your internal teams, and to give you ongoing advice on those license options and capabilities. So we've seen that Business Premium is an incredibly powerful suite, but it might not be right for all of your users. So finding the right guidance in that space is really important. We also support the ongoing implementation and delivery of identity and access management. So that's Microsoft Security Basics configured as standard for you, but also assistance with configuration of conditional risk-based access policies and integration of third-party MFA or single sign-on solutions, where we can use our experience to help guide you on what works and what might fit your business best. Now, depending on the complexity, that might incur additional project costs, but we see the ongoing support of that as integral into the service. In addition, security and compliance and configuration support. So that includes an annual Beckler Smart and/or security score assessment. This is where we review the setup of the tenant, review and understand the vulnerabilities and the choices that you have made and are going to make ongoing as to how that's configured to make sure that the security posture matches your business's needs. And that ongoing advice is really important. So if you're pursuing Cyber Essentials or Cyber Essentials Plus accreditation and you need assistance with applications or audits, that's included as part of the service. We're also a Cyber Essentials accredited auditor as well. Next slide then, please, Sam. As mentioned, we've got a network operations centre and service desk based in Northamptonshire. We're offering first, second and third line support for end users on those core Microsoft 365 applications. So assistance team, how do I do this? I've got a problem with ongoing on a UK based operating basis, Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5:30, excluding bank holidays. We can optionally upgrade that to full 24/7 cover. We do an annual Beckler Smart consumption and utilisation report, so reviewing your tenant's licensing and your tenant's usage, making sure that you are licensed for the features that you use and that you're not over licensed or under licensed, and that ongoing engagement to make sure you're getting the right licenses. In addition, we have our self-training portal that we're able to offer to make sure that you're getting the most out of the services. So that includes a self-service video training portal covering all of the Microsoft 365 suite of applications with bite-sized video content that you can use to build a training plan to enable you to deliver the right training and make sure users are able to understand the ongoing changes. And some of the features that Lois demonstrated there have come on leaps and bounds in the last 3 years, and making sure that you're making the most of that investment, and also to have an administrative reporting and access and completion report to make sure you know what the standpoint is within your users training. What have they covered? What are the gaps? Are there more areas? And so if we get a new feature released, and make sure that people are aware of it, make sure that people understand how best to utilise it. Or if people are using new areas of the suite, so perhaps they pick up Power BI and want additional training, that's available as well. Next slide then, please, Sam. Finally, we've got a couple of optional add-ons to the managed tenant service that we can offer. Backup and disaster recovery being one of them, where we utilise Acronis's cloud to provide a full backup of all your Microsoft 365 tenant data to a secondary cloud, the ability to be able to restore that should the worst happen, should your tenant become compromised. That's fully configured and monitored by a specialist team that live and breathe backup and data disaster recovery, and full support is given if you need to restore data. And finally, we offer a security operations centre monitoring and incident response service through our partner Barracuda. They're a level 5 SOC based in the United States. They're able to proactively monitor for ongoing threats that are picked up either by Defender or your other policies. So we'll be looking there for things like impossible travel, access outside of approved countries and the like, and making sure that if there is an incident, it's brought to your attention rapidly and we're able to assist in remediating that. So that's the Beckler managed Microsoft 365 tenant service. We'll move on to any questions and answers that people have following on from the workshop. I think we've got the first one here. What if business premium is too much for a small SMB? Lois, do you want to take that?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, we do come across that a lot. So I think what's quite important here is we're never ever going to push anything on anybody where it just doesn't sit right. You know, if it's too much, if you're more than happy with what you have. So I think the best thing we can say here is that, you know, what we mentioned earlier is Defender for Business. Now that can be added on for the kind of threat and vulnerability management and the next gen protection. So, you know, that would simply provide an extra layer of support to help with the identifying and detecting and responding to threats to recover. So if you've got, you know, the business basic, business standard, anything like that, then you can just simply look to add Defender for Business as a standalone. So you don't necessarily need that business premium piece.
Yeah, and I think that's key, isn't it? Making sure that we've got the right licensing for people's needs and their business, understanding which features that people are going to take and get the most benefit from.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. You know, like I say, it's about really kind of taking that deeper dive, finding out you know, what your customers need and what they're looking for, and just being able to give that kind of support.
Do we have any other questions at all that we can assist anybody with?
I don't see any in there just yet.
Okay, if there is anything, then I'm pretty sure that we can take requests afterwards, can't we, Maybelline?
Yes, yeah, not a problem. Well, yeah, I hope you all found it to be a valuable session. As mentioned, if you do have any questions, either reach out to your account manager or reach out to our CSP inbox. That is csp.direct-uk@beckler.com. Thanks to the team at West Coast. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks everyone for joining again, and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.